No one was ready for what was about to happen that night. Tom Brady had already built a legacy that most players could only dream of, but even then, something was missing. The world kept debating, questioning, comparing, refusing to fully accept what was right in front of them. And then, in one unforgettable moment, everything changed. One sentence echoed across the stadium, across the media, across the entire NFL world, and just like that, the debate ended forever. Because that was the moment Tom Brady wasn't just great anymore. He became the GOAT. Before that iconic moment, Tom Brady was already a name that carried weight, respect, and undeniable greatness. He had championships, records, and clutch performances that defined eras, yet somehow, the conversation never truly ended. Fans, analysts, and even former players continued to debate whether he had truly surpassed legends like Joe Montana or Peyton Manning. It wasn't that Brady lacked achievements. It was that the idea of a GOAT demanded something more than numbers. It required a moment so powerful, so undeniable, that it would silence every critic and settle every argument. During this time, sports media thrived on the uncertainty, constantly fueling discussions and comparisons, keeping the narrative alive. Brady, on the other hand, remained focused, letting his performances speak rather than his words. Game after game, season after season, he delivered excellence with a calmness that made the extraordinary look routine. Yet despite all of this, the label of greatest of all time still felt just out of reach, like something waiting for the right moment to be claimed. And while no one realized it at the time, that moment was closer than anyone could imagine, quietly building in the background, ready to change everything in an instant. The game that would ultimately shift the narrative didn't begin as a historic spectacle, but quickly transformed into one. The stakes were high, the pressure immense, and every eye in the stadium was fixed on Brady as he stepped onto the field. Early on, things didn't go his way. The opposing team came out aggressive, executing plays with precision and building momentum that seemed difficult to stop. The crowd grew restless, and the commentary began to shift, hinting at the possibility that perhaps Brady's dominance was nearing its end. But what separates great players from legends is how they respond when everything is on the line. Brady didn't panic, didn't rush, and didn't allow the moment to overwhelm him. Instead, he adjusted, recalibrated, and began to methodically take control of the game. Each drive became more calculated, each pass more precise, and with every play, the energy in the stadium started to change. By the time the fourth quarter arrived, the tension was unbearable. Time was slipping away, and the margin for error had disappeared. Yet in that very moment, Brady looked as composed as ever, embodying the confidence of someone who had been in this situation countless times before. Then came the defining drive, a sequence of plays that showcased not just skill but complete mastery of the game. With seconds ticking down, Brady delivered a perfect throw that resulted in a touchdown, sending the crowd into absolute chaos. It wasn't just a comeback, it was a statement, one that hinted that something far greater than a simple victory had just taken place. As the game ended and the immediate excitement began to settle, the real impact of what had just happened started to unfold. Cameras followed Brady as he walked off the field, capturing every detail, every expression, every subtle reaction. Interviews began, analysts gathered their thoughts, and the atmosphere shifted from celebration to reflection. Everyone knew they had witnessed something special, but no one could quite put it into words. And then, in a moment that would go down in history, someone finally did. An analyst, known for being measured and cautious, spoke with a clarity and certainty that cut through the noise. He declared, without hesitation, that they were witnessing the greatest of all time. For a brief second, there was silence, as if the entire world needed a moment to process what had just been said. And then came the reaction. The crowd erupted, social media exploded, and the statement spread like wildfire across every platform. This wasn't just another opinion. It was a declaration that carried weight, timing, and undeniable truth. Brady's reaction was subtle yet powerful. A slight smile, a composed demeanor, a quiet acknowledgement of what the moment represented. He didn't need to celebrate it loudly because his career had already spoken volumes. What made this moment so significant was not just the words themselves, but the context in which they were spoken. It came after a performance that embodied everything Brady stood for: resilience, precision, and an unshakable belief in his ability to deliver when it mattered most. That combination turned a simple statement into a defining moment, one that would forever be remembered as the point where the debate finally ended. The aftermath of that statement was immediate and overwhelming. Within minutes, clips began circulating across the internet, capturing the exact moment the words were spoken. Fans flooded social media with reactions, many expressing disbelief at how long it had taken for such a declaration to be made. Analysts revisited their previous takes, some standing by their earlier opinions, while others openly admitted that the conversation had changed. Former players weighed in, offering perspectives that added even more credibility to the claim. The phrase "GOAT" began trending, appearing in headlines, discussions, and debates across every major sports platform. What was once a contested topic suddenly felt resolved, as if the entire NFL community had collectively reached the same conclusion. The shift was undeniable. Conversations that once focused on comparisons now centered on admiration. Instead of asking whether Brady was the greatest, people began discussing how far ahead he truly was. This change in narrative highlighted the power of that single moment, demonstrating how quickly perception can evolve when the right performance meets the right timing. Moments like these define careers, turning great players into legends and legends into icons. For Brady, this was more than just recognition. It was validation of years of consistency, discipline, and excellence. Every practice, every game, every decision had led to this point, where the world finally aligned in its understanding of his impact on the sport. The concept of being the greatest of all time is not easily achieved, nor is it easily agreed upon. It requires not just dominance but longevity, not just skill but leadership, and not just success but the ability to deliver under the highest pressure. Brady had demonstrated all of these qualities throughout his career, but it was this moment that brought them together in a way that was impossible to ignore. It served as a reminder that greatness is not always recognized immediately, but becomes undeniable over time. Following that defining moment, Tom Brady's career entered a new phase, one where the expectations were no longer about proving himself, but about maintaining a standard that had already been established. Every game he played after that carried a different kind of weight, as fans and analysts watched not to see if he could become the greatest, but to see how far he could extend his legacy. The pressure of being labeled the GOAT is immense, as it invites constant scrutiny and comparison, yet Brady seemed to thrive under it. He continued to perform at an elite level, demonstrating that his success was not tied to a single moment, but was the result of a sustained commitment to excellence. His leadership became even more evident, guiding his team through challenges and maintaining a level of consistency that few players in any sport have ever achieved. What made Brady unique was not just his ability to win, but his ability to adapt, evolving his game to remain effective even as the league changed around him. This adaptability ensured that his impact extended beyond individual achievements, influencing how the game itself was played. Younger quarterbacks began studying his approach, trying to replicate the mindset and discipline that had made him so successful. In this way, Brady's legacy grew beyond statistics and accolades, becoming a blueprint for future generations. The moment he was called the GOAT was not the end of his journey, but rather a turning point that redefined how his career would be viewed moving forward. It solidified his place in history while also setting the stage for even greater accomplishments, proving that true greatness is not static but continues to evolve over time. As time went on, the significance of that moment only grew stronger, becoming a defining reference point in discussions about greatness in sports. It was no longer just about what Brady had achieved up to that point, but about how that recognition shaped the narrative of his entire career. The idea of a GOAT is often debated across different eras and contexts, but Brady's case became one of the most compelling because of the combination of success, longevity, and consistency that he displayed. His ability to perform at the highest level for such an extended period set him apart from his peers, creating a standard that is incredibly difficult to match. The moment he was officially recognized as the greatest served as a culmination of years of effort, but it also highlighted the journey that led him there. From being overlooked early in his career to becoming the most celebrated player in the league, Brady's story is one of perseverance and determination. This narrative resonates with fans because it goes beyond the game, representing the idea that greatness is not predetermined but earned through dedication and resilience. Even as new players emerge and the league continues to evolve, Brady's legacy remains a benchmark against which all others are measured. The moment he was called the GOAT stands as a reminder that there are times in sports when the debate ends not because everyone agrees, but because the evidence becomes impossible to ignore. And in that moment, Tom Brady didn't just win a game or achieve another milestone. He secured a place in history that will be remembered for generations to come.